Good morning. Here is our midway through the novel checkpoint with our plot map and what we've been doing so far this year. So we're starting with my hand and this lovely story map. So you have written your own fan fiction story at this point in the first 9 weeks, and you actually placed it on a plot map, story map, just like this. Remember, plot just means the entire narrative. So beginning with that as our vocabulary for the first 9 weeks, you've learned the terms, but you've also identified them in the novel as we read and created them in your own story. So that is a little bit of a review for the first 9 weeks. As we pull out a little bit here, if you were all here, you would be enjoying this lovely plot map wall, all right, to show you where we are and what we've done. We're just gonna, there we go, look at that. See? We just keep going back. It will give you the whole idea of a plot peak on the wall. So, quick review of the elements and vocabulary so far. We know the title of our book is Tuck Everlasting, which we've learned the meaning behind the everlasting part already. The author is Natalie Babbitt. It is a fantasy novel because we know there's magic afoot. So far, we have encountered the Foster's Woods, Tree Gap Village, and the Tuck's Cabin. So our three main settings have already been established. And we know that our time period is still the first week of August in the 1880s. We are not covering a large period of time, even though we did have a flashback that gave us the history of the Tuck's family. Our main character, whose perspective we are looking through, is the protagonist, Winnie Foster. She's an 11-year-old wealthy only child of the prominent family in town. And her external conflict is that she has been kidnapped by the Tucks. We aren't sure yet what's going to come of that. But they wanted to convince her to keep their secret. And we have an antagonist in the man in the yellow suit who is currently on his way to the Tuck's cabin to get Winnie, save Winnie, for an exchange with her family, a bribe. Okay, so that is the basic outline of our elements. Her internal conflict so far has been one, being an only child and everyone calling her name and keeping her so restricted. And then two, being kidnapped and taken away from that world and finding herself actually becoming friends with her kidnappers, which is very confusing in the mind of an 11-year-old. Some of the themes in our story that we're going to be addressing and looking at: family, what it means, how you define who your family is. The cycle of life and growing up is the primary theme here. Transformation and personal identity. By the end of this book, we will look to see how our protagonist has completely kind of taken a turn in her personal change and development. And then friendship and loyalty. New friends, old friends, family. What does that friendship and loyalty look like? And what are the prices we sometimes pay for that loyalty? And then, of course, the figurative language aspect we've looked at throughout every chapter. So those are the basic elements. It's paused. I'm just waiting. See, it paused for a long time, and I'm going to keep going because I don't have that much time left. So we are in the rising action in our current moment, and I will show you where we are in our rising action because I'll just walk over here. There we go. So we have gotten up to 15, 16, and I'm short. So up there is, let's see, right there, that is chapter 15. So we have done all of this in our rising action. And you can see that we're halfway up to the big turning point, the climax of our roller coaster of a story. And so the majority of a book, a movie, or a plot is your rising action. It is what establishes and builds the suspense and the storyline to get you to the high point of emotion, and the solving of the conflicts up at the very top. So, we did a prediction yesterday, a prediction question about what we think will happen when the man in the yellow suit arrives at the Tuck's cabin to save Winnie. We already know he is not of the best character because he exchanged Winnie's location for the ownership of the Foster's Woods. we call that a bribe, and it is illegal. So he is a shifty, shady character. We still aren't quite sure what it is he wants, but that is where we are with our novel and our plot. And we will be continuing in the next few weeks to wrap up our novel. And we will work with this vocabulary for the rest of the year, as well as some additional concept vocabulary. I hope that you are learning and understanding your literary elements as we have got the first 9 weeks under our belts. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.